Hey, it's Lynette Creamer, aka Testy Redhead, and this is my first self-recorded video blog, aka vlog, although I have had a couple of videos here before recorded by some other folks. But I wanted to answer a question that somebody asked me at Star East. At Star East, as I blogged about, James Bach featured me as one of the testers. He was talking about in terms of people who are blogging and kind of contributing to the testing community who hadn't been around that long, but were really getting involved in the discussions. And he brought up an instance where I wrote a technical paper for PNSQC, and he asked me, kind of called me out on using the IEEE definition, and he asked me, why did you use that definition? And he thinks it's not a great definition. And they asked me, why didn't I get offended when he asked that? Like, why did I take it as a serious question instead of getting offended that my definition or that using the IEEE definition wasn't good enough? And I wanted to kind of go into why that was, because he brought up the fact that I didn't accept the original definition and I wasn't offended. And the main reason I would say is partly because of how I know James and partly because of my personality and experience. So I have heard James speak before a few times, and I know him as a tester, but I also know him primarily as a great teacher who helps other testers become better and think about their testing in new ways. And I had taken a seminar from him. It was an all-day tutorial at CAST about self-education for testers. And since then, I've had this learning syllabus where I've been teaching myself things. And in addition to testing books, I've read communication books and some things about how the human mind works. It's been really wonderful to explore different areas of interest. So when I think about James, the first thing I think about is he's one of the teachers we have in software testing to help us become more thinking testers, testers that don't just accept things on the surface but dive deeper. So if he asks me a question, I'm assuming his intent is partly to teach. And he knows that I'm a person who studies software testing and I'm interested in learning more. So I think that having that in my mind helps me not take offense. And people who really get easily offended, I think, sometimes don't understand James beyond they just see somebody hairy, maybe louder than they're used to, or more boisterous and passionate than they're used to, and they think, wow, he's just out to cause conflict. And I don't see that. What I see is somebody who's excited about testing, who likes to see people improve, and who wants to spend his time with people who are dedicated to improve and who want to add something of value to the community of software testing. And I don't see that as an offensive thing. I see that as a beautiful thing that I value and want to contribute to. So really, when someone asks you a question, there's many ways you could see it. One of the ways people see it as, wow, this person is trying to embarrass me. It may remind them of a traumatic instance being called up in front of the class with the chalkboard, and they may just freeze and be uncomfortable. But another thing that I did when he asked me that question is I said, you know what? I haven't really thought about it, and I think this question requires a lot of thought. So you need to give me 24 hours. And I just said, you know what? I'm not standing up in front of the class with a chalkboard right now because this question's too important to me. And it really helped me to not take offense that James understood. He understood that I cared about this and I was going to go think about it. And he reviewed my blog and gave me feedback as soon as it was up. And I thought that was wonderful. So if you're one of those people who feels like you freeze, you don't have to take offense. You can say, you know, I haven't given it enough thought. I want to think about it. And I mean, it's not as good as having a discussion right then and there, but I think especially if you're first new to the testing community, it's better to do that than to take offense or refuse to answer. Um, if it's something that you do care about. Now, if it's something that you don't care about, I think you can opt out and say, you know what, this isn't my area of study, I'm not interested, and um, you can find people who share your common interests. I mean, I think there are some things that impact most of us in testing that we really all ought to care about what happens in computing, because software and hardware and things that impact the testing profession impact all of us. It doesn't matter exactly what area we work in, but I think we all ought to care about the industry, but obviously we're different individuals. We're all not going to care about the same thing. And I've already been blabbering for 5 minutes on this, so I'm going to wrap it up real quick. But the other way you can take it is you can assume, wow, this person's giving me credit and they care about my opinion. I think in this case, James read what I said. I didn't give a viable alternative for what the definition was, but I said I didn't like the IEEE definition. And he said, well, what do you really think? Is that what you really think? And my assumption was, wow, he's giving me credit. He thinks I can do better, and he's asking me to do better. And you know what? I want to do better too, and I can. And so that is why I didn't take offense. And I think that if you assume that most people in testing are coming from the point of view that they care about testing, they want you to care about testing, and they mean to have an honest discussion with you for the benefit of mutual understanding, then it's easy to not take offense in those conditions. And there's a wiki rule: always assume the best until proven otherwise. So assume good intent. And I think that could cause a lot less conflict and a lot better online discussions. So anyways, thanks for stopping by my blog, and I may be doing a little bit more videos soon, and that was how not to take offense, or basically the only reason why I didn't take offense. So please leave me a comment if you have anything to add. Thanks. Bye.